That was when I was like, I'm never going to China again. And everything I say that comes out of my mouth about China, the CCP, not the people, was like just middle finger all the way. 大家好，我是唢呐，我是从美国德州来的，我来台湾快18年。
What brought you out here in the beginning?
My original career, after I left engineering behind, was I made underground house music and DJ'd. I was raised fundamentalist, Southern Baptist, whole family, hardcore. Only music you listen to is classical music and gospel music, because then you can't be brainwashed by the devil. One thing led to another, and I started my secret DJ career. At the time, no one knew other than my two closest friends, who were Taiwanese, which is how I ended up being here. At the time, the underground house music scene, they were talking about Texas, Deep South, homophobic as It was like, that's gay, literally. When people found out we were listening to house music, we would get targeted. Although I'm not gay, I remember I got into fights over it. My two friends saw that I was really kind of going all into this DJ career. And my friend was like, hey, my uncle in Taiwan, he's got a liquor company. He wants to find like a foreign DJ to help promote it. So maybe the next time you go on your tour, you can stop by Taiwan. I was like, I've never been to Thailand before. That sounds great. Couldn't find Taiwan on a map to save my life. All I knew was on turn on the remote and made in Taiwan. That's all I knew. The weird thing is my uncle was stationed in Taiwan during the Korean War. So he was the only person, when I said I'm going to Taiwan to DJ, he was like, really? He said at the time, majority of the people spoke Taiwanese. He didn't really know a lot of Chinese, he knew a lot of Taiwanese. And of course, Olang, he knows that. He said, you know, they didn't have that many Olangs there. Like if they saw an Olang, they completely freak out. When they would talk to him, they'd always look. It's like, are you looking at my ass? Like, what are you doing? And at some point, he got decent enough with the language where he asked them, it's like, why do you keep looking at my butt? He's like, I'm looking for your tail. All the white soldiers said you had a tail. And he's like, what? He's like,
no way.
Yeah, and it was a common thing. Because what do they know? There's no internet. So I came here 2 weeks, 2006, on a tour. Did all over. I did Hsinchu, Taipei, Tainan, Kaohsiung. Played somewhere in Yunnan, is like way out in the sticks. Threw records to the crowd. It was this really insane like experience.
Who was there to watch you play this?
Mostly children and old people who were just like, there's a black guy on stage, he's playing music, it seems cool. You know what I mean? Everywhere I went, the vibe was super cool. Wasn't big crowds. I had no name there. Neil Shred gave me my break in the music industry here. He's the only guy who knows more house than me in terms of like New York sound. At the time, Taiwan had very few Westerners, very few black people. I used to have people come up to me, no joke, they come up to me on the train and be like, thought it wasn't real, that was painted. They couldn't conceive that I had that much melanin in my skin. Back when I was teaching English the first couple of years, at the time you do the interview over the phone, like a pre-interview, and then you go in and you do like a sample teach. And this would happen common, because I enunciate clearly and speak clear and concise, they assume I'm not black. When I greet them at the door, they're like, oh. Some people wouldn't even open the door, they'd hide and they wouldn't open the door. Several occasions they were like, yeah, we want to hire you, but the parents, you're too black. We got a business. The parents don't believe that your English is that good. Looking in retrospect and knowing what I know and understand, what I think I understand about Taiwanese culture, I think a lot of it is cultural insensitivity. 我在网络看到啊，我在电视看到，我在电影看到，所以你都是这样子，不是吗? They don't realize the implications that comes with that. It's just different.
When do you think that started to change?
I think part of it with the internet, part of it with more and more people being able to go abroad, and also more and more long-term Westerners actually being able to communicate with people, have a real cultural exchange, not just language exchange, not just fluid exchange, but actual like, cultural exchange. There's still that Southern American that when everyone says like, oh, don't you mean Hayden? It's like, what do you mean, woman? Hayden? Okay, I understand what you mean, but I'm triggered. It's part of the reason why I decided to take it upon myself to learn the language and learn the culture. Because I was like, this bothers me. And my friends, my Taiwanese friends keep telling me that it's a me issue, and I keep saying it's them issue, so I want to find out what the effing problem is. Learn Taiwanese, learn Chinese, and just started talking to people. Rode the bus, talked to old people, and I realized, oh, I'm an asshole. It was learning that, yes, it is curiosity. 你们黑人不是都会打篮球吗？那你们跳这么高，是因为腿大不是吗？那为什么每次看到电视都是黑人在玩 NBA？ 因为那些黑人做的事情，我自己黑人不会做，是因为他们很厉害。And yes, some of it is stemmed in xenophobia and maybe a bit of racism and 刻板印象. But a lot of it is just like, hey, I really don't understand. I've never seen someone like you before ever in my life. So make it make sense. 可是黑人都是不是很喜欢炸鸡吗？为什么是种族歧视？我也很喜欢吃炸鸡啊，天天可以吃炸鸡啊，为什么是种族歧视？我不懂。They don't have that history that we have where if you say something like that to me, we're going outside. You know what I mean? When we talk about PC culture in America, we're talking about all the history that comes with it, how the Chinese were treated, how the Africans were treated, how everyone was treated. All the full weight of the things that happen in American historical culture come with what you say. But Taiwan doesn't have that. So when they say, hey, it's dark out here, I can't see you, that's funny. It does not mean, hey, you're inferior to me, and I think everyone who looks like you is less than and should die. Especially growing up in the South, where people have said stuff like that to me to my face in a non-joking way. It was just like, yeah, fuck off, all of you, and the Jews. So this is why, and Dave Chappelle said, this is why all black people are bilingual. We can talk that talk, we can speak, you know what I mean? Code switching. I've been code switching since I was 7. When my parents split, I go to the African side, I speak with an accent. Oh, yeah, this be go for this thing over here. Different. Even on my channel, you'll see me. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. It's a survival mechanism, but it's also a way to get people to understand that, hey, it's like I actually understand where you come from. And if I say it like this, 你真的懂我在讲什么.
I noticed when you speak, you have a really Taiwanese accent. Like, how did you do that?
I grew up watching my father with a very strong Cameroonian accent. He was an immunologist, a PhD, and an award-winning scientist. And he would be ridiculed for his accent. That really instilled in me, if you want to be taken seriously, even in English, speak with proper diction, have good cadence, understand your tone of voice, learn how to enunciate clearly. Those things are what people will judge you on at face value whenever you open your mouth. It will determine whether or not they want to take what you're saying seriously. And I've seen like the Westerners who go on the TV shows and like the reactions like, oh, 外国人好可爱啊，哦，你可以这样子，哎，我是外国人，哎，台妹，我爱台妹. Understand the consequences of what comes from that image. Now people, you're other. That's what hard pressed me. I was like, yeah, I gotta get this accent thing down. If I want to develop an accent for something, the first thing I understand is how are they using their throat and their tongue. You ever notice when you speak Chinese, your body kind of tenses up. It's kind of a restrictive language. 这是一种紧的感觉，就是很紧。But 台语我讲台语就很放松啊 because Thai uses more of the glottal stop here. 我没怎样啊，你敢不知道讲桥?
You're recognized on the street quite often now.
Quite often, yeah. From the channel, the first American to host the presidential office concert, or from 大西亚时代, where I was the first non-local Taiwanese to trilingually host a television show. 如果你是外国人，然后你有一些特殊贡献, then you qualify for the 双国籍的身份。应该2个月后就拿到台湾身份证. It's rare and it's really hard. The fact that I literally had to take photos with the president, speak several languages live on national television in front of thousands of people, ignore all the parts about having a business and employing Taiwanese people and paying taxes and giving back to the local economy and doing all that stuff. Only then was I considered. And even then they're looking at me sideways like, but do you really should you though? I remember walking into that office and I was like, this is Taiwan, this is me. Please? They're like, yeah, but she's standing there, she's only got one dog. What about her cats? There definitely should be a standard, but that high? 我现在的感觉是应该会很久才会改变。外国人要来台湾当台湾人很奇怪耶。They never saw this idea that people will come to this tiny island in the middle of nowhere. They want to live here and stay here and learn the language and understand the culture. They never consider that. And if you understand anything about bureaucracy, especially in the government, things move slow. I know it's easy to say that, oh, 这个法律很排外, right? I think part of it is their fear of the people across the pond abusing that particular stipulation, especially when we're in a time of war, information war, psychological warfare. But I also know there's the issue of a lot of Taiwanese, they go abroad and they only come back to vote and get health insurance.
Right.
And that hits some people the wrong way.
Yeah, that kind of also touches on like, ABCs that come back here. They become citizens in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Especially if they're women because they don't have to serve.
There are some inequities involved. The people in charge of this whole situation need to take a hard look at their policies and where the law don't and find a way to find balance. So yeah, they're Taiwanese. Are they contributing to Taiwanese society or are they just taking the benefit? And how does that weigh compared to a Westerner who's been here for any period of time and has actually contributed to the society and cannot reach the same amount of status?
What do you think about like ABCs that have dual nationality that don't have to serve?
I didn't know that was a thing. I know they can. I know they can evade it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's not they don't have to, it's just they evade it.
Yeah, they evade it.
I would say, me who considers myself an American patriot, and I consider myself a Taiwanese patriot, just do your duty and serve your country. Of course, we're probably going to war soon, so that makes it even scarier, but the benefits that you're getting from this country are not free.
Conflict is pretty much imminent.
I would even say within the next 10, my country and Russia, we seem to be really fond of doing proxy wars. Taiwanese people are concerned, are we going to be the next staked fighter?
But you're still here.
I am. Patriotism. You don't run from a fight. If you're gonna tell me someone's gonna come to my house and take what I worked hard for and harm my family and the people I care about, let's go.
So if that went down, would you help out in some capacity?
Any way I could. Whether it's to pick up a gun or I would figure out a way to be useful. The same way I would if there was an armed conflict in America and they needed people to go back and fight, I would go back and fight. Just because if you really say you stand for something, whether it be your nationality or for religious belief or whatever, are you willing to die for it? You might get one shut off and then, you know what I mean?
Jeez.
Loaded full of, it might happen. But for my own peace of mind, I would stand for that because this is my home.